Sorry, I know this one ended up a bit on the long side. And to make it even longer, here's a list of events that happened before the main comic. The Illuminati, a group of superheroes shown here acting in secret to protect the world, in quotation marks, discovered that universes are colliding and the multiverse was ending. They tried to save as many people as they could and explored every solution. Using the Infinity Gauntlet, although it broke after one use, and then growing more and more desperate with each and every failure, to the point where eventually one of them, Namor, got disgusted by the inaction of his peers and decided to detonate an entire world that was going to collide with their one. This led to the Illuminati ultimately splintering as they were unable to compromise their moral compass with the fact that there was no alternative to the problem that needed to be solved. Namor instead sought the help of a group of villains called the Cabal, who actively went about destroying universes, taking great pleasure while doing so. Meanwhile, the Illuminati's actions would divide the hero community on Earth, leading them to fight amongst themselves as well. Well, you've seen Civil War, it's not all that uncommon, and they don't really need much of an excuse to do so. And finally, there are only two universes left, the 616 Marvel Universe and the Ultimate Universe, and as they are ready to collide, both of their forces are ready to do battle. So, with that introduction out of the way, let's get into the main series. We open with a quote: "We know so much more than we understand, but we know so little." I'd like to see that on a poster or a t-shirt. Someone make it happen. We truly open the event with Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange, and the Molecule Man facing something that engulfs them in bright light. And it is revealed that the bright light is caused by some purplish thing calling itself God, and they are from beyond, and they destroy Dream, blah blah blah, and Doom decides to stand against them. Back to the main setting, the two universes are ready to collide as Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four attempt to somehow save as many scientists as they can so that they can repopulate the universe. They use the teleporter manifold to do this. Unfortunately, the scientists end up killed in the attack by the Ultimate Universe, and a bunch of heroes are teleported, including Star-Lord, the Jane Foster Thor, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, and Cyclops, who has once again become Phoenix. The life raft sets off and immediately falls into trouble when a part of the raft breaks off, containing the most of the Fantastic Four and the Future Foundation, except for Reed Richards, and he is unable to save them as they have to save the ship before the rest of them die as well. And we end the first issue with both Earths colliding, and Reed Richards quoting that he believed in tomorrow, and now he hopes and believes in nothing. The final page, however, showcases Doom's mask in bright white light. We next see a new young Utopian being selected as a new Thor, and he explains the history of the new Doom planet created by God Doom, because Victor is very subtle. Yes, somehow Doom has managed to make himself the god of an entire patchwork planet called Battleworld, made up of several alternate universes, with Stephen Strange acting as his right hand man and Susan Storm as his wife. However, we soon see what appears to be Reed Richards' raft. However, it's also soon revealed that it's not in fact Reed Richards' people who are in the raft, but the Cabal, accompanied by Ultimate Reed Richards, who is evil. We soon see a conversation between Doom and Strange where they talk about the fact that they both remember the fact that what happened before this, as well as the fact that Stephen could have been God, but chose not to. Soon after this, Stephen investigates the Cabal's ship and discovers Miles Morales, the Spider-Man of the Ultimate Universe. While talking with him, he realizes that he has memories of the world before Battleworld, and thus is emboldened to try something else. He has actually retrieved a similar craft like this. In it are the 616 heroes. And yeah, both Spider-Men know each other. I decided to put this in here because, hey, just so you know. And they verify that it is indeed this Strange and this, well, the 616 heroes. And while talking about this battle worlds and God, Reed Richards asks, "Who is this God you keep mentioning?" And Strange says, "Doom. It's Doom, Reed. Victor saved us all." The expressions on the heroes' faces are just priceless here. T'Challa is the first to recover from this news and asks how long ago he found his raft, and he says 3 years ago, but he had to take the risks into account, and he had no other choice, as Victor is very good at playing God. The Cabal are engaged by an army of Thors, while the 616 heroes and Strange and Miles are talking about how everything happened, but we don't get any answers just yet, as the young Thor who was with them is summoned to the fight with the Cabal. Unfortunately, one of the Thors there also alerts Dr. Doom to the fight as well. Doom seems unimpressed at first, even while seeing some of the characters before. But once Stephen Strange teleports the 616 heroes, including Reed Richards, his interest is suddenly piqued. And he decides to jump right in there with his famous quote of, "Richards!" And Reed actually compliments him on the fact that he's made an amazing artificial construct of reality where there should have been none. And he says that he did what they could not. He saved the unsavable in the face of total annihilation. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right now. Dr. Doom effectively saved everyone, didn't he? And now the heroes are coming in to pass judgment on him? After all, not only did they compromise their moral compasses, but they also were unable to do anything about the entire universe's ending scenario. Doom did, and I have to give him credit there. Whereas the heroes were too busy failing or fighting among themselves, Doom did solve the problem, which the heroes could not. But just because he did manage to find a solution doesn't mean that the heroes should just blindly agree to what he has to say. After all, the first thing he did was set himself up as a god. That's not really the sign of a benevolent person. Reed voices this same concern, the fact that he couldn't help put himself on a throne, and Doom attacks. Cyclops as Phoenix decides to challenge his notion of a god, and Doom promptly kills him. Stephen Strange, realizing that Doom will eventually kill all of them, decides to teleport all the 616 heroes and the members of the Cabal away. When Doom asks them why did he do it, he says that despite all of his godlike powers, Doom is still afraid of Reed, And he has good reason to be. In response, Doom kills him, his loyal right-hand man and friend. Yes, the man who stood by his side and supported him, and Doom just killed him. You can say whatever you want about Doom and the heroes. The fact that the heroes came in and just have the easy decision of, disposing a tyrant, whereas Doom had the much more difficult decision of killing people. We'll get to that in a minute. So the heroes basically had the easy route, but it's very clear that the entire situation as it is can't be allowed to continue in its current form. After this, Doom visits the Molecule Man, and we finally get some answers as to how this took place. Well, the Beyonders were basically a bunch of cosmic beings who created a lot of universes, but they were getting bored and wanted to destroy all of reality. To do that, they had made the Molecule Man, one version of him, to destroy a universe. And there was one of him in every universe. So in order to prevent that from happening, Doom decided to prematurely kill as many Molecule Men as he could. For this, he created an entire religion of black swans, where he was a god, again, calling himself Rabba Malal. But they weren't going to be able to stop it. So while the black swans were busy killing as many Molecule Men as they could, Doom decided to build brand new Molecule Men to be better bombs. And when they finally confronted the Beyonders, they detonated all of those Molecule Men, killing the Beyonder. But all of that power had to go somewhere. And the Molecule Man became the conduit for all that power. And one of the two, Doom or Strange, had to make the decision of how to use that power. Strange decided that he couldn't fathom the scope of it, and so instead Doom was given the power of the Beyonder. This is a nice callback to the original Secret Wars, where Doom actually achieved the powers of the Beyonder for a certain amount of time. We see where some of those members of the 616 universe ended up. Namor and Black Panther end up together. Captain Marvel ends up at Bar Sinister. The renegade Black Swan ends up at Doomstat, Doom's Fortress. And Thanos ends up at the wall surrounding Battleworld. However, the rest of them have been proven a lot harder to find. The Black Swan has apparently decided to become loyal to Doom and informs that the two of them they've captured, Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, are Thanos' minions. However, that's not really important, so let's move over to something much more interesting. The two Reed Richards work together to find a solution to defeat Dr. Doom. The evil Reed Richards taunts the fact that Doom basically took over his family and replaced him, in essence. Well, besides that, anyway, he also has a plan. He's using someone called the Prophet to sow dissonance in Battleworld. While the 616 Reed sends Spider-Men, Peter Parker and Miles Morales, to detect the source of Doom's power. And they encounter Valeria, who is Reed's daughter in the main continuity, but is Doom's daughter here. And she's become a bit disillusioned with her father and decides not to interfere. Both Spider-Men end up discovering the Molecule Man, and he asks them if they brought him something to eat. And Peter said that he didn't have anything, but Miles does. A hamburger. And he points, and they start to realize that that was a 3-week-old hamburger and they shouldn't have given it to him. But he really enjoys it. This is really important, people. I would not have brought this up if it wasn't. Anyway, Black Panther and Namor, after all the crap they've been through, it's nice to see them working together. They find Strange's secret location, his Sanctum Sanctorum, where they find 2 articles of interest. The Siege Courageous, that will allow them to teleport wherever they go, but more importantly, an infinity gauntlet that's powered in the location where Doom's castle exists. Meanwhile, Thanos goes to the wall and talks to the Thing, who apparently decided to willingly become the wall to protect everyone outside it. But Thanos convinces him that Doom just tricked him because he was someone who had humiliated Doom multiple times. And the Thing decides to just break off from the wall and go confront Doom directly. Thanks to the combined efforts of the Prophet and the 616 heroes, the entirety of Battleworld is thrown into chaos as fights ensue throughout, with Ben Grimm fighting a version of Galactus and the 616 Groot destroying the main castle. This leads to downright one of the funniest moments in the entire series, where Thanos says that when he had the Infinity Gauntlet, he was a god as well. Doom asks him, does he have an Infinity Gauntlet now? He says no, and Doom promptly turns Thanos into a skeleton. I swear to God, I'm not sure if this was intentionally funny, but damn, I laughed out loud when I saw this for the first time. But hey, someone does have an Infinity Gauntlet, and he's coming directly to battle Doom. Theirs is a fight of gods, but it's ultimately just a distraction, as while Black Panther and Namor fight Doom here, both Reed Richards have gone to confront the Molecule Man. The evil one naturally tries to betray him, the good one, but yeah, the Molecule Man turns him into pizza. Another scene that's also from the original Secret War. Owen tells Reed to get ready as Doom is coming once he realizes that the entire thing is a distraction, and he goes to deal with Richards directly. However, the Molecule Man decides to remove Doom's powers, and they decide to fight amongst themselves to decide who should use the power of the Beyonders to make a better world. They fight, and there's a lot of philosophical things going on. On one hand, Reed acknowledges that Doom has done a lot of great things. But on the other hand, he couldn't help but replace him and belittle him at every opportunity he could get. Doom says that he thinks that Reed is better than him, not just in general, but he feels that if he had that power right now, he would use it much better than him. And Reed says that, yeah, and the reality is, you know that too. Doom acknowledges this, and before he can kill him, Owen says, well, since you both agree on this, well... And then there's an explosion. We cut to the Black Panther in a scene where initially he discovered the first incursion, but instead it's just a rocket launching into space. Oh, and as a thanks for the hamburger, the Molecule Man decides that he owes Miles one. And what is that thing he decides to do as a favor? He decides to bring over Miles and his entire supporting cast over to the main universe, alongside his mother, who had been previously killed in the Ultimate Universe, so that he can have adventures as the Spider-Man alongside Peter Parker. And we end with seeing what Reed's plan is for the Beyonder's power. He decides to use his son's abilities as a universal dreamer, split it off different universes, and send various versions of the Molecule Man to them, healing both the Molecule Man and recreating the multiverse. And hey, even Dr. Doom gets a pretty good ending out of this, because with the help of the Beyonder's power, Reed decides to give him the one thing he had always wanted: his face back. I know that seems kind of minor, but hey, it's Dr. Doom. But hey, everything lives in the end. This comic is great. There are a lot of flaws in the fact that you need a lot of supplementary material, at least knowledge of what happens before, may drag it down a little, but all in all, this is one of the best comics Marvel has ever put out. Next time, we return to Astro City with the curiously numbered issue half, and one of the best single issues of all time.